Good evening, everybody, man. I am so excited you guys are here. I'm with my most reliable co-host. I'm telling you, Natasha Jordan is here with me tonight. Welcome, Natasha. So glad that you're here.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're just waiting for everybody to jump on. We got a couple of folks coming on, and we're gonna continue the saga. And we're not gonna target Chris Hauser anymore because I mean, we're not trying to target anybody, and I don't want to target anybody. What I want to target is who's pulling the strings. And tonight we're going to be talking about that. Tonight we're going to be talking about this freedom movement. And is there really any freedom in all this movement, or are we just doing a bunch of movement? It seems like we're just doing a lot of movement, but I mean, let's dig around a little bit. And I know Natasha, you've been to the bottom of the cereal bowl a couple times on this, so I know you've dug around a little bit. And of course, we talked about Chris Hauser last night. Or I'm sorry, last week we talked about Chris Hauser and kind of what was going on there, and kind of how he's built his little enterprise and what he's doing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. But we're also going to talk about some other teachers. I think we talked about April Lejeune is on the chopping block tonight. We'll be talking about her tonight. And by the way, before we get started, you guys out in TikTok land, before you get excited, start calling up all the Karens and say, "Oh, Tim Damron's on the thing here. Come on, Karen, come on." Before you start doing any of that, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is not meant to hurt your feelings, Karen's feelings, or the Karen across the street, or any other Karen that I might know either. So this is none of that. This is for entertainment purposes only. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to just shine some light. You know, and I think I heard it best, light on this whole movement. And I think I heard it best of sometimes, like when you get a magnifying glass and you focus on an ant and you give him too much light, he starts to burn, doesn't he? Yeah. And sometimes, too much truth can be too much light, and sometimes it burns people. So we definitely don't want to be doing that tonight. We want to uplift you guys. Those of you guys that are waking up in this movement, man, praise be to Yahweh. I'm glad that he's talking to you. I'm glad he's giving you dreams to dream. This is prophecy. You're stepping into another matrix now, so this is pretty good. But anyway, and Carl's usually with us tonight too, but I guess he got grounded tonight. I think he got in trouble. I think his wife got after him or something. I don't know. Probably too many phone calls with Tim Damron this week. I don't know. Who knows, man? But anyway, praise be to Yahweh, and blessings to Carl as well, wherever he is. Because I too want to be a Toys R Us kid. Just can't do it on Monday. Anyway. And, you've had an interesting week. So, okay, tell us about your week. So you were in California. You went through the whole TSA thing. And, I mean, I was hearing this. She was all, "Can you believe this?" And she's all telling me what's going on. Tell us about it. It was really good.
Yeah, so you broke up a little bit. So you were just wanting to know about my week, or?
Oh, no, about what happened in California with your whole TSA thing. Sorry about I didn't mean to break up.
Oh, yeah. So far I hadn't gotten my passport, and I was kind of like, what's the big deal about it? This and that and the other. I mean, cruise and all that good stuff. Well, when I went through TSA the first time, it wasn't really that big of a line. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Well, when you wake up 5 o'clock in the morning and you have a line that's a mile and a half long trying to get through, and your plane's at 6:45, I'm like, oh no, this is not good.
I'm out.
So, and then it dawned on me, this is what my passport's for. So, yes.
Yeah, those days are gone when you get your passport done. They're definitely gone. Yeah, definitely. That's.
Yeah. So it was just an awakening aha moment, kind of like, oh wow.
Right. So, well, and I mean, it's just, what it boils down to is that we just need to be manage our public and private profiles. We can't be divorcing ourselves from one side to the other side. And more importantly, you can't see this, but for the guys in TikTok land, I've got a no trespass sign. It's up behind me. Always be contracting. ABC. Okay? No matter what. Notice is notice. Always be contracting. Always. Anyway, glad everybody made it on the call. Last week, like I said, we talked about Chris Hauser. We talked about some of the, I don't know, stuff that's kind of going on. Like, and you weren't here, Natasha. But so one of the things that we talked about is the fact that, he got into a lot of trouble. They were filing liens, UCC liens on public officials. And this was Chris and a whole group of his friends that were doing this. Kind of like, the ones that are in his Telegram group. Anyway, he's telling him to go do this stuff. And they ended up getting charged. And I'm talking a few hundred counts, not like, I mean, between 5 of them, it was, or 4 or 5 of them, it was a lot. It was over 100 counts or something like that. Because Carl was saying that if his time was not run concurrently, he would have got like 300 years.
That's a lot. Oh, did you want to record or?
Oh yeah, we need to do that, don't we? Thank you.
You're welcome.
What would I do
This
without
call is
you?
being recorded.
All right, welcome to the call, everybody. You know what? I just hit the record button. Oops. What we're going to be talking about tonight is we're going to finish our discussion on Chris Hauser. I want to welcome everybody in TikTok land. There's a whole bunch of you guys out there, man. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your support. And welcome, Natasha. Thank you for all that you do. Glad that you're here tonight as well.
Thank you.
Anyway, so we just got talking about, and sorry, and I didn't let you guys in on this, but you guys in TikTok land did, so I'm just catching everybody else up. Bear with me, everybody. Natasha had a work trip, and so she had to fly out to California, and she went through TSA, and you know, she had to sit in line for hours, and she's got all the stories and the mumps and the bruises from the corners. I mean, she's got all that, right? And she's like, man, I wish I'd have just got my passport done. Well, those of you guys that do take the UCC and trust classes is something we definitely do cover. I talked to somebody today, as a matter of fact, that called me up and said, yeah, I followed the the method on how to do it. That copper moonshine stills guy, I went through and did all that, and I'm not knocking it because I actually did the same process. It does work. However, if you don't have a UCC filing, no es trabajo. It doesn't work. So, and it doesn't work because they don't see you as anything else but in that little box as the taxpayer. They don't see you as doing anything else. So, that's why some of y'all are just getting 1 and 2 little stars. That's why it's happening. And if you guys want to learn more about that, obviously I have classes on this stuff at houseofyahcommunityoutreach.com. You guys are welcome to jump in on us at any time. So, anyway, getting back to tonight's topic. So tonight we're not targeting any specific teacher. We're targeting all of them. No, I'm kidding. No, we're targeting just the ones that are just doing nefarious stuff. And, we were talking about, somebody else, you were saying that somebody said to file your UCC, don't file it where you live. Go file it in New York. Did you say that? Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah.
And
well,
who's saying
I was
that?
just kind of, that was actually April or June, because taking your classes, you tell me this, and that, this is where this needs to file, this is why you're doing it, and so forth. And then whenever I scrolled across her, she was like, okay, so for your UCC, you don't file it here. This is where you file it in New York. And I'm kind of like, well, first of all, this is private. Why are you filing it in the first place? And that was the first thing I was like, okay. And then the one thing that she needed to file at her publicly, she wasn't. And I was just kind of like, so what are you trying to teach, as far and not explaining stuff of why she's doing it. So I was just a little confused.
Well, sometimes these processes, and I'll say, and I really, because I've been down a lot of these soup drains myself, a lot of times these processes will, they involve just keeping you busy. You're running around over here, and then you're getting something notarized, and then you're running back over here, and you're getting it justified, and then you're running back over here, and you're getting your friends to come sign off and do something else. And then, after all this private process is done, then they tell you, go file it publicly. Ugh, right? Is that what you're, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
it didn't make any sense.
No, because, that which is public, and that which is private is private. And I'm seeing this too. They're telling people to go get their names changed to uppercase, lowercase. Because that fixes something. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I have an upper lowercase birth certificate already. It came that way. Hasn't helped me a bit. Not going to help you either, I promise. And I'm seeing people filing DBAs under their name. But then somehow that's supposed to be a private process too, and you're not doing anything publicly when you go file a DBA because nobody sees you? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really understand what a DBA is, but from what I understand, it's something under your LLC, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
could you enlighten us on that?
Yeah, no problem. A DBA is doing business as. So if you're going to do business as Tim Damron's Auto Shop, then you have to go down and you have to get an assumed name certificate, and then you have to file for a DBA, and that's what these people are doing. But they're putting their names, their all caps name, and filing it as a DBA to do business.
Oh, but they're already doing business under their all caps name. You just got to learn how to do it.
And I don't understand how making something so public can be so private at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm confused. Anybody out there in TikTok land, you guys got anything on that? I mean, hey, I know you guys are hearing this stuff out there, and if you guys have questions or if you have comments about it, hey, jump in. I mean, say something, please. Oh, and by the way, tonight I actually called out Chris Hauser. I asked him. Okay, Chris, he's in the field tonight. They must have found that 3-year-old that was in the cornfield. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what that was going on with that. I'm just being stupid. No, Carl just sent me a message and said he's stuck in the field with the children of the corn, apparently. I don't know. Whatever. You know what? We're going to roast him next week. When he gets back next week, you and me, we're going to roast him. We're going to roast him good. Because he got me all excited. Called me after the call. Said, oh, it was so much fun. And we're going to do this and this. And it was fun. I'm not going to say it wasn't fun because it was fun. It was really funny. But we didn't have you here. So now,
yeah.
I know this is like that family reunion when you can't get everybody there and they won't show up. You're like, no, I'm not going. No, because he's here. No, I'm not going. You know. But anyway, you know what? Y'all need to work. Whatever differences you and Carl have, y'all need to work it out. I mean, really, send one of those fruit cards or something. I know he likes chocolate fruit, so do something. I don't know. Or maybe he needs to send you something. You know what, Carl? You need to send Natasha something. Both of y'all send each other something. Maybe
you faded out again.
I think both of y'all need to send each other something, some kind of a peace offering or something. I'm not, you know, I don't like all that. I mean, I know you got your business trip, and then, and then he had one too, and then next week I'm gonna have a business trip, and I won't be here either. They're fine. I'm just kidding. Oh, welcome, Pastor. Pastor's joining us on the call tonight, man. I'm so glad that she's here as well. Anyway, all of you guys out in TikTok land, you guys are more than welcome to throw in anything on this. So here's what I'm seeing. Natasha, I'm confused because, and this is what happens when we start mixing public and private. This is the problem that we have when we can't stay in our lane. You know what I mean? And this is why people get called. I believe this is why, no, you know what? I'm no authority on this, but let me be humble today. And let me just honestly say, I don't really know, but to me, when you see people doing two separate things, you know what I mean? Like the person that says, I don't eat meat. No, I'm a vegetarian. And then as soon as you take them to Sizzler, they turn into the monster and they destroy everything. You know what I mean? And to me, that's like somebody that can't get it right. And when I see stuff like that, you know, in Proverbs it talks about having inconsistent weights and measures, and that's what that is. Now, and welcome everybody. By the way, everybody else that's joining on the call, everybody else that's coming in, and I'm confused. So to me, this is what I call a sovereign citizen, Natasha. When somebody is just doing things in every direction, but then they say they're committed in one direction, but then they're really not. This is when I think it falls into that sovereign citizen. I talked to somebody today, and they're like, oh, well, that doesn't really mean anything. And I said, it really does mean something. I think it does. I think it really does mean something. I think it really does have a definition. And I think that we can't just dismiss the word because you don't want to hear it. You know, would you agree? I mean...
I think so. I think what a lot of people are just kind of confused with a lot of it. So basically, whenever I was started June, I heard Chris Hauser. I heard other people that we're not going to mention. What did you say the other day?
You probably Crooked David.
Yes, that one. That was so
Crooked
cute.
David. That's my name.
But
Crooked David.
so with all those, they're talking about how the government and this and that with the straw man, they've done us so dirty. Well, yeah, they kind of have, you know, and then you kind of get mad at it. Well, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to get back at them for doing this and doing that to me. Okay. So then you dive a little bit deeper with this. Just rebuke it, but more, you know, but you need to change this and that. And then, but whenever you start putting it together, it doesn't really make sense. And like in your spirit, it doesn't.
I had conflicts with that too. I really did. You know, when I was waking up and I was hearing stuff like that too. I have to agree.
Well, and not only that, it's like, okay, so then I stopped for a little bit of listening to everybody, and I just started praying. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to correct this? You know, well, yeah, when I go buy a car, they double dip and they get, you know, $180,000 for this. What can I do about it? You know, or, you know, yeah, I'm going to get my passport and they're calling me this and that and the other, and I don't have these rights, but what can I do about it? You know? So that was the main things about it. And then I came across you, and then I asked questions. Well, what about this? What about this? Do I need to change my citizenship? You're like, no. But, you know, if you want, and, you know, so now I'm going to, you know, take your debt and discharge class that's coming up. And that way I know the process of how to get that note back, you know, and I don't feel like I'm
That's why you asked.
You know,
that's why we were talking before this, and Natasha was saying, you know, you don't have a debt and discharge class set up for September. And you know, I didn't make the connection until just now. It's because you just bought a truck. Okay, I understand. I got you.
Yeah, you know, but now that I'm learning the process and saying, okay, well, yeah, I spent X amount of dollars on this truck, you know, and I'm not anything. I am money to her, you know, and it kind of made me feel a little bit like, ugh, you know, like what? That's all I am. I'm not a person. But then, you know, I'm kind of feeling better about like, yeah, but I can get my truck, get my notes back with my taxes and all that, you know. So it's really good. And honestly, you know, not just that, but also, you know, going back to the UCC, learning how to do the farm mailing book, you know, having that witness, you know. And I've noticed, like, you know, going back to the nationals and this and that and the other, what they do is they pull up vocabulary words. Well, that's all they are, is vocabulary words. My 5-year-old can Google that, you know.
And they just read to you.
And they just read to me, and my face goes blank. But what are you doing about it? What?
Nothing. I agree.
You have somebody that's trying to collect money on you, or this or that and the other, or you got a ticket. You know, every little scenario that comes up in your life, there's a solution how to do it. And
Yes.
then if I'm not for sure, then you help us with it. You know, you just don't kick us to the curb and, you know, all that.
Oh, no,
But,
never.
I mean, so I just really encourage people that have questions, or they come across this person, that person. If it doesn't resonate with them, ask questions, you know. You know,
And what if they can't
this?
answer them? What if they can't answer the questions, Natasha? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Okay, y'all
That
heard
tells
what I
me
say
that-
about it. But
Well, that tells me that, one, they haven't done the process themselves. And then two, they're pretty young in the game. You know, I want somebody that's been there doing it 5+ years. You know, what proof do you have? You know, have you foreclosed? Have you gotten a note back? You know, how are you working in, you know, your private life, your straw man life? You know, how are you doing business? You know, so it's a lot of that. I want to be able to see proof before I start just following you. Because the last thing I want to do is go to jail. You know, because I filed a UCC lien against somebody that I had no business to do that, you know.
well, and more importantly, if you're going to file a lien like that, you need to have a plan on how you're going to get paid, and that's what the debt and discharge class is all about. We have to forgive these debts, and there's a way to do it properly, you know. I don't think people are talking about that. I think people are running around with that take the money and run kind of mentality. It seems like.
Yeah, and then, honestly, I mean, it's a lot of work, but just think about it from when you were born with birth certificate, going to school, and the straw man, every time you filled out an application, every time you've done something, I mean, it just added to.
Yeah.
So then whenever you actually get to like right here, setting up your trust, setting up this, getting your credit done, it's a process, and not that people are lazy, but it's a lot. You just got to take a little bit at a time. But whenever people are talking about a 1099-A, file this with the Treasury, for this car, and they'll give you the money for it. All they have to do is file these other forms. I think it's like I can't remember what they are, but it's like a 1099-A and then OSE or something. It was some off the wall forms that I didn't know nothing about.
And this is what,
and then they'll get money.
This is what Chris Hauser's teaching.
Right. And, he says, and he says, well, just go to the now. So just get the money, and whenever the money comes in from the Treasury, then come pick up the car. I'm like, oh, well, that sounds easy. I mean, anybody can do that.
23 years in the car business, and I'd never seen that happen.
Yeah. And like he said, a lot of, car business people don't know about it. So he was educating them on it. And did it work for him? I don't know. I wasn't there. So, but if it does work for him.
Thank you. Then it should be duplicated.
I didn't have to go whenever I bought I didn't have to go to the bank and get pre-approved. I didn't have to go back and forth with contracts. I didn't have to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that to me was so much easier. Just get a 1099. I didn't have to work.
Yes.
I didn't have to learn all that. So.
Well, and that's what people are not understanding in the process. They're not understanding where they are in that process. And yes, the 1099 it can be an important part of that process. But here's the problem: we're in our own taxpayer ID format, we're limited. We can't use those forms. Those are for creditors only. And the only way you can be a creditor is if you're doing commerce. And I know the social makes you believe you can do some commerce, and you can, but most of it you cannot. And this is why, again, this goes back to that discussion of why they have a market of people that just out there stirring the pot. Just pissing people off and getting people mad, because what they're really showing you is the limits of your Social Security number. Okay, and if we have the right vehicle, we can go anywhere except for the moon. We can't go there. But outside of that, if you have the right vehicle, you can go anywhere. I know. Every time I say that, and I say that, if you have the right vehicle, you can go anywhere. The first thing that comes to mind is that Mooncraft landing thing. Where he's driving around on the TV set, and he's really not on the moon. That's the first thing that comes to me. So no, I always have to fix that. But it's true. It's true. If you have the right vehicle, you can go anywhere. This is why we need LLCs. This is why you have partnerships. This is why you have different modes of business. And the reason that we do is because you have different vehicles that want to go in different places and at different times with different kinds of liability. When we're carrying all of this stuff, Natasha, we're so loaded down, we're doing everything we can to keep the lights on. And this is what we're seeing. And a lot of you guys are out there. A lot of you guys are, not everybody's just killing it out there. So people that are struggling, people that are stuck paying fees all the time, this is what they do to other folks, and this is how they keep you in that box. This is how they keep you there. If you want to get out of that box, I'll show you how to get out of that box, okay? It's not about changing your citizenship. It's about changing your mindset. It's about changing how you do business. And if you understand how to do business, then you will do business well. If you don't understand how you're doing business and you just run up to the car dealership, those guys are going to run you through the turnbuckle and run you out of there, and you won't even know what happened. They'll hit you so fast. Trust me, I did it for a lot of years. And I'm here to tell you that unless you have an exchange of services or money, okay, or something of value, okay, which is not your signature, unless you have an exchange of that, that's the only way you can use these 1099 forms. So an acquisition means something that you've held previously. So if you're acquisitioning something with the 1099A, because that's what it is, it's an acquisition for unclaimed property or abandoned property. And if you're acquisitioning it, that means you owned it before. That means you had it before. That means, so here's something you could, and this is something we talk about in the class. You could acquisition your note. You pay off your car loan, you could acquisition your note. And you could file a 1099 and say, hey, I want it back. Because now what happens is you're not the borrower anymore. What happens is that you become the beneficiary. Once the borrower's paid off everything, he's not the borrower. He's the beneficiary. He's the boss. That means because you're holding the collateral, that makes you the beneficiary of everything. So that is a whole nother box. This is something we're going to be talking about in that class. And when I say it's a whole nother box, it's a whole nother platform altogether. Okay? When you're the borrower, you're stuck in a little box and they have the 1-800 I'm pissed off number, and that's it. You don't get to talk to nobody else. You can't talk to the CFO. You can't talk to Brenda in accounting. You can't talk to nobody else until you talk to the 1-800 I'm pissed off number. Why? Because you're the borrower, and the borrower is stuck in a box and he can't do nothing. This is why a lot of people are having a hard time challenging their contracts, because they're on the wrong platform. They're not using the right vehicle. You know, if you were trying to fly to California, you'd want a plane that was big enough for everybody, especially if they all showed up, right? I mean, you wouldn't show out there. You wouldn't show up with a two-seater and say, okay, come on, everybody, just pile in and sit on each other's laps. Let's go. And just forget about the luggage. Let's go. You wouldn't do that. Why? It's the wrong vehicle, damn it. And you're going to get hurt. And you're putting yourself at risk. And can I tell you, you're going to get hurt, and you're putting yourself at risk when you start loading up the car like this and doing things that your Social Security number cannot do. Okay? Now, can you do these things? Yes. Yes, you can. It's wrapping your mind around it. Okay? Tomorrow night, we're going to be having the firm mailing class, a firm mailing book class. And this class is all about using the firm mailing book. Now, a lot of you guys maybe don't understand what a firm mailing book actually is. Here's one of them. And I've got a couple of these full. And we're going to be going over this, how this stuff works, okay? How to enforce this. You know, when you're using this book, what kind of power do you really have? What kind of enforcement do you really have? Why am I saving these books? Is it for you guys? No. No. I save these because these are part of the trust. This is like a court log. That's right. And I'm going to show you guys how to use this thing. And when you figure out how powerful this thing is, those of you guys that take the other classes, the debt and discharge class, and we have travel and driving coming up, I use this book in that. And you're going to see me walk out of tickets gloriously. And not just once. Not like just because I was lucky. Not because we didn't want to hear from me anymore. No. I never even went down there. And it's all documented. I never physically went down there and got all this done. This is a powerful book. Tomorrow night's class is going to be really, really helpful. Those of you guys that are trying to learn administrative claims, those of you guys that are trying to learn presentment, proper presentment and enforcement, this is your class. It's super cheap. It's It's a $125 class, right? 2-hour class, right, yes, Natasha?
Yes, sir.
2-hour class tomorrow night from 6 to 8 p.m. If you guys want to get in that class, call my office. Go to the website, houseofyahcommunityoutreach.com. Call my office. The office number is on there. Just call my office during normal business hours tomorrow between 9 and 5 o'clock Central Time. And if you're interested in taking the class, we'll just do a quick interview. I want to make sure that you're comfortable with the class, make sure you know what you're getting, of course. And if you want to do the class, we'd love to have you. Travel and driving is going to be on the 24th, 25th, and we'll show you how these things actually work. And they work well, really, really well. You want to stop some of your court cases? Use this book. This book will do that. Why? Because you're talking about an equity jurisdiction. You're talking about a jurisdiction that's higher than the courts. It is. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow night. You guys are going to love it. It's good stuff. Anyway. But, yeah, Carl he like lined out everything. Everybody that sees the video, or your video, Natasha, the one you're on. Everybody that sees, hey, what's going on, you guys? Those of you guys that see the video, they're gonna see. They're not gonna see you, but anyway, they're gonna see all of this. They'll see what we're doing here, and you guys got to get in this class. It is a really great class, so I think you'll do well. Anyway, on your end though, Carl keeps flashing in here and telling me, "Oh my God, I forgot about the call. Oh my God, this happened. Oh my God." He's like, "We're gonna so haze him next week. You wait. We're gonna get him good. We're gonna get him good." I'm toilet papering his house. I don't care where he lives. We're going to toilet paper his house. Those of you guys that live in Kansas, anybody living in Kansas, hit me up. If you're good with toilet paper, let me know. We're going to Carl's house. Just kidding. It's like a terroristic threat. Yes, but it was only toilet paper, Your Honor. I don't care. Send him a letter. Send him a letter. I'm telling you, no. Tomorrow night we'll be doing that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Natasha.
So I do have a question going back to the travel and drive and the passport that kind of go coincide together.
Yeah.
So flipping through all the sorry.
It's okay.
This and that and the other. So the passport, they talk about do not detain, and how they're the state national. The rules don't apply to them and stuff like that. For whenever you actually get pulled over with travel and drive, what is that kind of about, and how do those kind of go together?
There's 2 do not detain lists. Okay. Now, if you're talking about the state nationals, they have their own do not detain list. And the reason that they're on a do not detain list is because they're on a terrorist watch list. The old Kitty Plaster, he's on one too. So, because I looked him up and that was the first thing that came up. He's on a terrorist watch list. I was like, holy cow. So they're painting that stuff everywhere. So those of you guys that are doing this repudiation of citizenship, dude, you're hurting yourselves. You're really hurting yourselves bad. And so there's a do not detain. And this is why you're seeing like some videos here and there with some of these state nationals. They get pulled over and the cops kind of look at them like, oh. It's because they got stuff on their radio that's telling them don't detain because the FBI is watching them to see if they're going to hang themselves even more. Yeah, that's what being on a government watch list is about. So that's not what I teach. I don't do that. The do not detain that comes with my class is more of an administrative do not detain. And it is a method of contracting, basically, that's out there. So if these people with 70 IQs and little black suits decide they want to cross the line and they want to go into an area where they shouldn't go, which one of those areas is that I see often is that they'll start investigating somebody, like right there on the side of the road, and start hitting them with all kinds of questions and everything else. And, where are you going? What are you doing? What are you with? And this and that. And they're not even reading their Miranda rights. But they're under an investigation. They're doing this. This is highly illegal. It's against public law. It's against your constitutional rights. It's a violation. It's a bad idea. You can't incriminate yourself like that. But yet these guys will pull you out of your car and they'll do that. So this class, we're going to be talking about dealing with that sort of stuff. But the way you deal with these people is that you have to know how to make the right presentments. You have to understand that during the traffic stop, they're making presentment to you. Now, I hear the thing about the old traffic lights and this and that, that's an those are emergency lights and you've pulled me over and this and that. You've heard that, right? And I say that a lot in class too. Well, the reality is that he's trying to stage a fraud. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Timmy is back with more sovereign citizen nonsense, and I'm telling all of you guys about it. So the cringe detector over here. Oh boy, this guy. Don't say things that aren't nice. It's just simple as that. And yes, you're right. We're exposing a lot of these folks and we're talking about this stuff so the public knows what you guys are teaching people. And you shouldn't be teaching these people. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate your support. Love you guys. I had one little dirty comment. We're going to take care of that, but it's okay. Children. Not nice. But you know what? I love y'all anyway. I don't care. You can be upset. You can do whatever you want to, man. But I love every one of you guys. Okay? All of you guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All of you. Even if you want to argue, I still appreciate you being here. That's fine too. Now, I'm very disappointed because Chris Hauser was prodded to come on to the call tonight. And we had a few of his members that were really talking it up. And they were saying, if you say anything bad about him, which apparently that means anything that has to do with accountability. So if you say anything that has to do with accountability, that equals bad. He apparently, allegedly, is going to 100% come after us. Well, you know what? I won't meet you at the monkey bars at 4 o'clock because I'm a grown up and that's not what we do. But why don't you come on this forum? And I did. I invited him to come on the forum tonight. And I mean, if you got the gas, Hot Rod, come on, man. Come on up here, man. Let's talk about it. And Crooked David, you can come on too. April, you're welcome to come on. Any of you other flying little monkeys want to come on? I don't care. It's fine with me. And I'm sorry if you don't like that term. But when you're carrying somebody else's message and you've got no fruits to back it up, flying monkey. Yeah. Really, that metaphor fits. And I'm sorry that it does. And if you don't like it, change something about yourself. Stop carrying the messages of other people's messages. You need to have your own story. You all should have your own story. I mean, Tasha's got her story and she just started doing this a couple of years ago. I've got a bunch of them, and this is why people take my classes, because they know I've been through the fire. They know I've had counties come after me and I shut them down by myself, So, and it's how do we do it? Equity. You learn equity, you learn how to beat these guys. These guys that are running, I love this, Natasha, how they always talk about the law. You ever notice that? They'll pull some law up and they'll dust it off from like 1746. Look, you can't eat chickens on Saturday. You know what I mean? I mean, it's whatever. It's something, Or, and Texas is full of those laws, actually. There's a bunch of these silly little laws that are in counties that say you can, even support domestic violence. No kidding. You can Google some of this stuff. I'm serious. Like, you can't hit your wife on Wednesdays. There's still laws on the books here in Texas about stuff like that, because, once upon a time you could do that. So they just left some of them, just sat there and parked there, and life just moved on and they just stayed there. And you'll get these nationalists, whatever they are. I think they're out of their minds. But anyway, you'll get these people that want a lot of attention, I guess. And they'll start blowing off these old laws and go, look, it's a refrigerator. Look, you know what I mean? I'm saying,
Yeah, but I think out of any of them that we've actually mentioned, I mean, the last thing I'd ever want to do is bicker back and forth or anything like that. Yeah. And I'm like you, I always wanted to invite somebody to where, why can't you put, as you say, come into the minds together and say, okay, well, this is how I do X, Y, Z. This is how we do X, Y, Z. Can we make it better and more powerful? And could we come together and just be for one?
That'd be nice.
Instead of, that would be super nice. I mean, I think it would be great, learn from each other.
But it takes humility to do that, Natasha.
Yeah.
And this is where I think we're low. We're low on humility out here. We're low on humility because, quite frankly, a good majority of us, and maybe even me too sometimes, we might just get too puffed up. Or we might appear to be puffed up. And that's certainly not my intent. Never my intent to appear puffed up at all. Oh, hold on a second. Somebody just left a neat comment. It says, I'm interested in learning more from you. I've done some digging, but there's so much deception. And there is. Thank you, man. Thank you for that comment. He's exactly right. There is so much deception. And the reason that there is, Natasha, is because, look, man, this is a spiritual war. The devil knows you guys are waking up, okay? And not only does he know that you're waking up, but he knows who's waking you up. And it's not your TV. It's not me. It's not Crooked David. It's not April LeJune. It's not Natasha Jordan. It's nobody. It's him. He's waking you up. What happened to me and Jeremy? Oh, wow. What happened to me and Jeremy? Well, somebody brought that up, and I think he's talking about hashtag 903. I think that's the same Jeremy. I'm going to assume. I think that's the same Jeremy. You know what? He was in a position where he just wasn't taking care of himself. And he just stopped kind of taking care of himself. And, things just kind of fell apart. I saw kind of some things in his, and I don't want to put out his personal business because that's not what I do. But I just saw some things in his personal life start to fall apart. And he started to fall apart with it. And this happens a lot with our vets. They come back and they have a mindset of this is how things need to be. And, and sometimes they say stuff and do things that are just not of the normal, and it's reactive because of where they've been. And this is why we need to help each other. This is why Natasha was just saying just now, we need to come together and do that. But you can't do that when you're dealing with somebody that's prideful. You can't do that with somebody that's out there beating on his chest going, look how masculine I am. And which is fine. I mean, you can be masculine, but you can't be humble and masculine and beating on your chest at the same time. I mean, really. You can't put humility and King Kong doing this at the same time. It doesn't fit. Like, try to do that on a cereal box. You'll get a pink teddy bear. It's all smiling. It's true. I mean, you would diminish King Kong and just take him to that. And that's what it would take. So, and honestly, this is what it takes. This is what it takes to hold it down. So, my prayers go out to him. My prayers go out to him, and I hope that he does well for himself, and also I hope that he will continue to keep my name out of his mouth. I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Anyway, and you know what? That's good that you're trying to hold it down with some other stuff. I'm reading some comments that are coming across here, you know what? Humility is where it starts. If you want to get wisdom, get humility, and when you get humility, you'll get that wisdom, man, and you'll start to see things from a different place. And then you'll understand what real victory is. Real victory is walking in a room and the battle's done. It's done before you even spoke the word. Why? Because you made all the right presentments. You did all the right contracting. It goes back to what I was saying before, like this sign, ABC. Always contracting. Always be contracting. Because if you're not contracting, somebody else is. That's the truth. Anyway, but, so, and April used to be on my show a couple of years ago, and I had April on my show for a while, but I mean, she just had not so many people that liked her too much, and there was just too much stuff out there on the internet about her, and I had to. I mean, I just had to. One of the things that I have to do and I have to be careful of is that I have to stay above reproach too. And though I want to help people, some people don't want to be helped. Some people are just stuck. Like Natasha was saying, why can't we just come together and put all this stuff aside? Because that would take humility. That would take people to say, you know what, I don't know it all. That would take somebody to say, you know what, I really haven't done this. I just really have done a lot of reading about it, and I feel pretty confident about my knowledge, but I really haven't done this. So if you have done this, show me how it's done. That's humility, and that's what it's going to take. And that's how I learned. You want to know how I learned? That's how I learned. Humility. I didn't learn from Pactor Divine. I didn't learn from any of those guys. If anything, those guys were stumbling blocks because they give you this much of this much. And, you're left, and then when it's all said and done and who's looking like an idiot at the end of the day, it's you. And we give these guys so much grace, and I don't think we should. I think we should hold them accountable. I think you should ask them questions. Chris made a comment and said that somebody got pissed off and drove all the way to his house and knocked on his door and wanted to talk to him, and he was all mad about that. And I'm like, well, why would you be mad about that? Why wouldn't you just answer the question? I'm saying, So any of my students, I mean, I know Natasha, our relationship's always been that way. Get if you've had questions, you just call and ask, and we just talk about it. You know, we schedule an appointment. We just do it. It's easy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. And sorry, I heard some noises down there, but no, it's true. It really is true. Oh, look, you got your buddy up there.
Yeah, Autumn Lee thinks she needs to get
I have a sign at the end of the driveway in acrylic. Very good, man. That's what's up. That's awesome. Always be contracting. Always be contracting. Man, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for the gifts, the bracelets, all that stuff, man. They're sending me all kinds of stuff over here on TikTok. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. We have 1,500 people on TikTok right now, actually, as a matter of fact. So please, you guys in TikTok, please share my page, okay? If you look at the views, I have like 300 views. And the reason I have like 300 views on all my stuff is not because it's terrible. It's because For whatever reason, if you go lie to people, they send, you get 13,000 views a month. But if you don't lie to people, then they're like, shh, keep that quiet over there. Don't want them to talk about that. But if you watch my videos, you'll see I've actually foreclosed on my lenders. I've actually taken my property from them. And I have video of them trying to take it back. And then they put it back down and they had to leave. Who's doing that? I don't know anybody doing that. And I'm not trying to puff myself up. What I'm saying is that what I'm doing is working. Okay? And the simple thing, it's nothing special. It's just understanding equity. It's understanding how to use it. It's understanding how to make proper presentment. It's understanding your standing. I love how people make special appearances when they go into court. We're going to be covering this in the travel and driving class on the 24th and 25th of this month. But I love it when people walk in and they say, I'm here under special appearance. So what you're saying is that you're challenging the court's jurisdiction. And you're saying that it has no jurisdiction over you and you don't know who these people are. That's pretty much what you're doing. You're related to the crime or the ticket or citation or whatever the lawsuit is, whatever it is. What you're basically saying is that I really don't understand this, what's going on. I don't understand who you are. I don't understand any of this. But then what do these yo-yos do? They show up in court, Natasha, in their person. And then they say, well, we're making a special appearance today. They think they're at their Aunt Bertha's house bringing over cheesecake or something. Look, it's special. Look at it. No, that's not. It's the wrong special appearance. And I'm saying, but people get that because they think it's cool. Now, they go to Crooked David's class, and that's exactly what he teaches them. He teaches them to go and grandstand in court. He teaches them to do all this and that. You know what? Stop for just a minute and think about the last time you were in ticket court. Did you see a bunch of well-to-do people in there? Mm-mm. You might have saw like one or two over there that had lawyers, okay? But I'm talking about, generally speaking, the whole room. Okay? No.
No, and then
You don't. You see poor people in there.
move on and go about my business.
I'm saying that's what you see. That's what you see in there, and they're doing this because the people that do know what they're doing, they've already handled their business before court, and they've done it privately. You see, that's why they're not in the room. So when you stand up there and you say, "I'm here under special appearance," you're like that close to them sending you to a psych ward. Because what you're saying is that I'm challenging the court's jurisdiction. I acknowledge that it's not here. I don't know what it is. It doesn't exist. I don't even know who the heck you people are, but yet you're standing there. Your performance says you know what's going on because you took MapQuest to get there and you found it and everything. But if you had sent the paperwork in and we had done this properly, you wouldn't be in that courtroom. You wouldn't be in there asking Bobby in the corner, "Hey, can you film this so we can put it on YouTube?" That's why you don't see those on YouTube. That's why you don't see Tim Damron's cases on YouTube. Because they don't even show up to court. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about this in the male class, okay? This book's super important. You need it. You need to have it. If you're representing your trust, if you're representing your business, if you're doing business on behalf of any kind of entity, you need to have this book. And you need to learn how to use it. It's a very difficult book to get. It's not easy to do. There's some magic words that come across. It really is. There's some magic words that come with getting this book, and still then they may tell you no, or something like, we don't really make those books anymore. They'll tell you stuff like that. Yeah. But I'll show you how to get around all that. We'll be talking about that tomorrow at between 6 and 8 p.m. It's going to be a 2-hour class. It's only $125. It's a wonderful class. All proceeds benefit the House of Yah Community Outreach. We'd love to have you guys in that class. And I don't, this is a pretty general class, so this class can get as big as it wants to. I usually try to keep my classes pretty small, but this one, it's fine. Everybody can come in this class. It's not a big deal. Anything you wanted to add to all this, Natasha? Glad you've been here tonight. No. It's good to have you back.
No. Oh, thank you. So for some people out there on the fence, and one of the things I kind of had a hard time wrapping my mind around is listening to all the, other gurus, I guess you could say, is what is it they keep talking about? Change your nationality and your citizenship and all that. So what really is the big deal about changing it versus not changing it? So that was kind of one thing that was always kind of hard for me to wrap my head around.
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. And I will be able to answer that with no problem. I won't tell you, well, you need to go home and study some more. That's the comment. That's the one you get. That's the bag of tricks that comes and ask that question. Well, when you get to my level, you'll understand what that stuff really means. But until then, stay with the peasants. No, that's not the answer either. Here's the answer, you guys. We need to understand that our United States citizenship is like a suit, okay? You can put it on, you can take it off. It does not make you a slave. It gives you the ability to function in this country and do things and really capture the American dream and understand it. A lot of people don't understand the American dream because it's kind of put on a top shelf. Equity is something that's not taught. But equity is the highest jurisdiction. Yeah. It's even higher than the Constitution. It really is. So when you understand what equity actually is, and you understand how it performs and how it works, then the rest of this stuff is going to make a lot more sense to you. So what I think what you see in the national movement is you see people that just don't have the aptitude to understand what's going on. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to do car insurance. I mean, because this is what it all boils down to at the end of the day. They just don't want to do anything, okay? And they want everybody to do it for them. Oh, and they think HJR 192 says that, look, and the government can discharge all of our debt for us. Stop it. No. Yeah. That's a vehicle so we can discharge our debt. Hello, that means you need to get in the driver's seat and do it. And that's what we're missing. This is what we're missing. We got a lot of people with their hands down when they're with their hands out instead of their hands down and working and learning this stuff and understanding how this stuff really works. We can't be mad at these people for dumbing us down because we let them do it. Did you hear what I said? We let them do it. We let them dumb us down because we didn't ask questions. When they split up the family unit in our houses growing up and dad had to go out and work and mom had to go out and work and then Nickelodeon was raising our children. I know. I was one of those Mr. Green Jeans kids back in the day. So, I mean, I get it. You know, we were part of that generation. But this is what we let them do. Okay? So we can cry about it or we can pull up our pants and we can learn how to be grown-ups. And that's exactly what I decided to do. You know what? I decided to stop sitting in the corner with all these gurus and teachers and crying about it. And I decided to pull up my pants and let's go do something about it. This is why I teach what I teach. So you can do something about it. So you're not powerless. So you're not sitting over there like a bunch of wounded chickens every Friday or Monday night or whenever you guys stay up all night on the phone and listen for like one little ounce of something that he's going to say that he never does. Oh, he's going to talk about discharging lollipops. Everybody stay on for 3 hours. And they're listening. And he's talking about this, that, and that, and this. You know what I'm talking about? These guys that just wear you out with stuff. They do that on purpose. They're doing that on purpose to wear you down into acceptance. It's sad. Because that's how cult leaders operate. But it's what we got out there. You know? And, you know, Natasha, we're just two people who are going to try to change that. We're going to change all that. I don't know all of it. But we're going to do the best we can. And I appreciate you being here with us tonight. I appreciate everybody on TikTok being here tonight. Pastor, thanks for being here tonight as well. She's been in the back over here, but so glad that she's here tonight as well. Guys, if you want to get into this mail class, call my office tomorrow. Go to the website, houseofyahcommunityoutreach.com. Those of you guys in Facebook, you'll be seeing it up here at the top. Go to my website, look up the phone number, call my office tomorrow between 9 and 5 p.m. Central Time. Let's get you in that class, okay? Let's lay some foundation. Let's lay some good ground so you guys can go forward. A lot of you guys know a lot of this stuff already. A lot of you guys have been studying this stuff a long time. You just need to get your houses in order, you know? You want to use the bathtub, right? Okay, well, but you can't put your chairs in the bathtub and use the bathtub. So we got to take it out of the. I know the bathtub works, but we got to take it out. We got to use it over here. And this is about getting your house in order. This is about using it. So, you know, don't let people scare you out of your citizenship. Okay? There's 3 million migrants in this country right now that would literally probably eat your dog to have, I've heard, to have your citizenship, to have all the power that we have, that we don't know how to use. Join me tomorrow night. We're going to be doing that. It's going to be fun. You're going to be in that class tomorrow too, right?
I am.
That's awesome. Well, anyway, can I ask you a question? Well, you could type me out a question. Go ahead. Because it might be a good question for everybody to hear. Come on, Pastor. Oh, I put her on the spot.
There was one other thing dealing with Chris Hauser and stuff, and he talked about disability quite a bit on how to get it, and I didn't really understand. You know, it's kind of like a runaround. You know, that he was the beneficiary and this and that and the other. But I would just like to, you know, either invite him or, you know, kind of getting together again, because I think if he could teach us or we could teach him, you know, how much more other people on disability or veterans could we actually help get better medical care, you know, different things like that. So,
well, that's the test. I agree.
If he could just help teach us, as you know,
yeah, Chris,
that would be great.
So, Chris, hey, buddy, 1-888-570-7020. We're here every Monday night at 6 o'clock. Join us. We're going to be here. Now, the question that Pastor was asking is that she jumped in a little bit late. She didn't know what class was tomorrow. So just going to remind everybody about the mail classes, the firm mailing book class. Pastor, we incorporated this into one of the classes I think that you took, but it didn't give me enough time to really get in there and really spend the time. So I've got a 2-hour class coming up tomorrow. It's only $125. It's going to be here tomorrow night. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to go over the firm mailing book. I'm going to show you how to get one. I'm going to show you how to use it. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to enforce it. I'm going to show you how powerful this thing really is. I think it's going to be a great class. I'm so glad you're going to be here tomorrow night too. That'll be awesome. So, guys, definitely jump in the call. We'd love to have you guys. I want to thank all of you guys for being on the call tonight. Holy cow, we had 1,600 people on the call tonight. So thank all 1,600 of you guys, man. Yahweh bless. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate y'all. And I hope that Yahweh blesses your day, your homes, and everything that you guys do. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Good night.
Call recording off.